Okay, so this is activity number 2 that I would like you to do. So, now that you've looked at halving, we're going to still be halving numbers, but we are going to be looking more at using the division vocabulary. So, using the word like divide by or shared equally, and also looking at using the sign for division. And I'm going to be using lots of different objects that I found around the house today. And you can do this at home. And just use any objects that you've got. Lego bricks, you could make Play-Doh balls. If you've got any like pom-poms or buttons, or even like the googly eyes that you can get in like craft kits, they are super fun as well. So let's start. So it's really important to know the words that are associated with the divide sign. So this is the divide sign. Okay, I've looked at halving or half. It also means to share. We also call it division. We might say divide by, or equal groups, or shared equally. So there's some of the phrases you may hear me say when I'm speaking about division and dividing numbers. So when we are halving, okay, we are essentially dividing by 2. Okay, that's the same as half. So we have a whole number, and we're going to divide it into 2 equal groups. Okay, or we could say, how many times does this number go into the number 2? Okay, so it's all about the 2 times tables as well. This is why it's very important to know your times table. Okay, so let's take the number 10. Okay, so that's the whole number. We want to see how many times does 2 go into 10. So we're doing 10 divided by 2. 10 into 2 equal groups. Okay, so I've kind of set up like a little model here. Let me empty my resources out, which are sweets, because I love sweets. So this is our whole number. So our whole number was 10. So I'm going to count out 10 objects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And what I want to do is to divide that whole number into equal groups. And I've got one group here and another group here. So I've got 2 groups. So I'm just going to take one at a time, and I'm going to share them out one at a time equally into the 2 groups. Just one at a time into the 2 groups. So my whole number has now been shared equally into the 2 groups. And to make sure that they're equal, I'm going to check that there's the same amount in each bowl. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fabulous. Each group has 5. So I know that 10 divided by 2 equals 5. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is getting your whole number, which is 10, and then putting these into groups of 2, and then seeing how many we've got. So that's one group of 2. And I could put the number underneath 2. It's another group of 2. Now I've still got some left here, so I'm going to keep going until my whole number has been shared completely. That's another group of 2. Oh, that's another group of 2. And I've still got some more. I've got 2 more, so I'm going to put the other 2 there. Now they are all equal. I have shared my 10 into groups of 2, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 2. So there's just 2 ways of doing it. It's whichever one you feel most comfortable with, whichever one you feel is the easiest. But yes, you can also use your fingers. So you can count on your fingers in groups of 2 until you get to 10. So you can go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 5 fingers. So 10 divided by 2 equals 5. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to do this again just so that you guys get the grasp of it. It's quite tricky to begin with, especially for those year ones who have never been introduced to this sign before, it's one of the first times they will ever use this sign, is in year 1. So especially for the year 1s, you may find this tricky. So just keep practicing. That's the key to it, is to keep practicing. So this time, okay, let's do another division number sentence. So it's still halving because halving is divided by 2, but we're just going to be writing it as a number sentence. Okay, so this time let's use the number 6. Okay, so my whole number is 6, and I want to see how many times 6 goes into 2. Okay, so I could go back to my little model here. I'm going to make sure I've got 6. What could I use this time? I did have stones, but Alfie pinched them. Have I got anything here I could use? Oh, no. I'll just use the sweets again. But you could use anything. You could use raisins or whatever. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fabulous. So there's my whole number. I've got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got my 2 groups. And I'm just going to take one at a time and share them equally into my 2 groups. Okay, they've all gone. I've got 3 in that one. Are they equal? Fabulous. So 6 divided by 2 equals 3. Now I don't need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because we've already been given the whole number. We're not finding the whole number. We're just seeing how much one part is worth. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now if we wanted to do it in groups of 2 instead, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And the way that would look is you could put your objects into groups of 2. And I can see that I needed 1, 2, 3 groups of 2 to make 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, or half of 6 is 3. Okay. Have fun with it. I am now going to talk about bigger numbers. So for year 1s, what I would like you to focus on is halving numbers to 20, but year 2s, halving numbers to 100 if you can. Now what we use at school, we usually use place value counters for 10s and 1s. Can you remember the 10, 1? You usually have those, like a counter that says 10 and a counter that has 1. Now obviously you're probably not going to have place value counters at home, so what I've done is I just cut up some pieces of paper and I made my own 10s and my own 1s. So I've made 10s and I've made 1s, and that way we can still use this model but with bigger numbers. So let's divide by 2. And what I would like you to do is choose even numbers only. There is a reason why we choose even numbers only. 1, because we're dividing by 2 and we know that the numbers in the 2 times table are all even. But when we investigate halving odd numbers, I'd rather do that at school just because it'll be easier for me to explain than at home. So let's choose a number that's greater than 20. So let's choose 44. Okay, so what I need to do, I'm not going to count out 44 sweets because that would just take me forever. So I'm going to turn this into 10s and 1s, and I'm going to say that that's 4 10s and that's 4 1s. Okay, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got my 4 10s. I'm going to double check. 10, 20, 30, 40. Fabulous. My 4 10s go into my bowl up there, and then I need 4 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my whole number is now 44. What I'm going to do is share the 1s first. I'm going to take 1 and put it there. I'm going to take another, oh, where's it gone? There, and put it in there. Okay, 1 at a time. Start with the 1s first. There. Year 1s, if you want to challenge yourself to do this, by all means do it. Okay, now I finished sharing out the 1s, I'm going to share out the 10s. So 1 10 goes there, 1 10 goes there, 1 10 goes there, and 1 10 goes there. Okay, I'm going to double check they're equal. So in this part, I've got 2 10s and 2 1s. So I've got 10, 20, 21, 22. And I'm just going to double check I've got the same. So 10, 20, 21, 22. So we have found out that 44 divided by 2 is 22. So half of 44 is 22. Okay, you could do it with bigger numbers. It does get trickier. So for example, if we take 36 and we're dividing it by 2. Okay, obviously if we've got 3 10s, we can't share those 3 10s equally directly. What you would need to do is exchange this 1 10 for 10 ones and then put 5 in there and 5 in there. But have a go at home, see if you can do that, and just see how you get on with this. If you don't quite get it the first time, keep practicing it. I've put some links on the outline for this week for some games. If you don't get onto the games, that's fine, they're optional. It's just basically for those who have finished, who want to see if to practice recalling halving facts in such a short amount of time. You don't have to do it. I would rather you practice this over and over and over until you get it completely right. If there are any questions or anything you don't quite understand, let me know. Drop me a message, email me. But most importantly, have fun. Okay? Fabulous. Thank you.